One of the things that is so inspiring to me is the fact that a conference like this even exists. One thing that becomes easy to forget when you attend gatherings like this is the simple power of fellowship and the simple power of community, and the ways in which you all, by showing up for a gathering like this and showing up not only in body but in spirit, are exemplifying and modeling the very kinds of things that you and your programs around the country are aiming to teach and to shape young people with. I know so much of the work that you're doing here is set in this larger context of citizenship. I want to say some words today about higher education and the future of higher education and the civic dimensions of higher education, but all of it I want to set in this larger frame of what does it mean for us to show up as and be citizens. Society is not a machine. Society is a garden. And gardens require gardeners. Gardens require weeding and seeding and feeding and tending. And that is true of the economy, certainly, but it's doubly true of community and civic life. Every single one of us is a steward. Every single one of us owns a piece of that garden. With every single opportunity we have comes an obligation. With every aspect of freedom we have comes a set of responsibilities. I don't care whether you're a technical college, I don't care whether you're an arts and music college, I don't care whether you're a liberal arts college, I don't care if you're a major research baccalaureate institution or a community college, it doesn't matter. Every college is a college of democracy. And programs like the ones that all of you lead and catalyze and create are literally what gives shape to that precept. The work that you do and the meaning of you all coming together for a gathering like this so that you can learn from one another and renew and recharge that sense of purpose is something that I want to both call out and to honor. You all are the people who actually make it happen and make every college in this country a college of democracy. I'd like to spend my time this morning focusing on telling a different kind of story of citizenship. One of the things that is incumbent upon all of us in this room today is to start fostering and start telling and start spreading a new story of citizenship. One that is not about exclusion, one that is not about the people who don't get to claim it, one that is not about punishing those who exist outside the formal legal bounds of citizenship, but rather a story that is affirmative, a story that asks ourselves, what do we owe and why? And what does it mean, in fact, to unpack the content of our citizenship? And in telling this new story, I want to suggest that there are three dimensions for us to really focus on: character, power, and diversity. When I think about citizenship, I'm not talking about character at the individual level. What I'm talking about in the civic context is character in the collective. What are the values that guide the way you behave in public with others? And being able and being comfortable renewing a conversation about what it means to talk about mutual responsibility, what it means to talk about the sharing of sacrifice, what it means to talk about an ethic of service to others, what it means to believe in contribution before consumption, what it means to inculcate a mindset of legacy. These are the dimensions of civic character, of character in the collective. I saw a billboard not long ago, I think outside of Portland. I saw this photograph of this completely congested highway. And the billboard said this. It said, "You aren't stuck in traffic, you are traffic." Which was cold comfort to the people actually stuck in traffic, but it was kind of making an important point, right? We aren't stuck in broken politics. We are broken politics. We aren't stuck in dysfunctional neighborhoods. We are dysfunctional neighborhoods. We aren't stuck in distrusting, broken up, atomized communities. We are these things. And so teaching about character is just, in a way, teaching ourselves and those in our charge how to see a little bit differently. And this goes to the second of the dimensions that I want to speak about in this new story of citizenship, which is this dimension of power. Most people, whatever age, but particularly the young people we're working with, are bored when we talk this language of citizenship. And I would submit to you that one of the ways in which we can capture and recapture their interest, their attention, and most fundamentally, their intrinsic motivation to care, right, is to talk about power. Is to show how the learning of these skills, the engagement in the community, the grasping of a bigger picture that surrounds any single act of service one might do, is all about understanding the way that power works in this community, in this country. Understanding how power is allocated. Understanding what structurally defines who gets power and who doesn't have power. Understanding all the various forms that power takes in the United States. Understanding the ways in which, contrary to our creed of equality under law, there are deep ways in which we are perpetuating powerful inequities of power. This is not just about kind of speaking the language of empowerment. We want you to feel empowered. This is actually giving the young people in our lives the tools, the skills, and the know-how of how to use power. It's only when we begin to recognize individually and collectively this curriculum of power that we're going to make the kind of change that we're all spending so many of our hours seeking to make. This brings me to my final point here, the theme that is part of the story of citizenship, and this is the theme of diversity. And I think one of the ways in which our pieties about celebrating diversity have gotten us to be a little bit lazy in our thinking is it's not a guarantee by any means that diversity left to itself is an asset. There are plenty of communities in our country where there is diversity, but there is not trust. Where there is diversity, but there is not common cause. Where there is diversity, but there is not a common objective. Where there is diversity, but there is not a common sense of how to solve problems. Where there is diversity, but there is no experience of people working together, playing together, living together, eating together, gardening together, growing together. And in those instances, diversity actually makes it easier for people to flock with birds of a feather and not build habits of common cause, not build habits of trust, not build habits of engagement across these different lines. The thing about celebrate diversity is that it's diversity for the sake of feeling good, right? That we like diversity because it's inclusive and it's nice. And it is. Diversity is inclusive and it is nice. But there's a better argument for us to make for diversity, which is that when we properly mobilize it, when we properly create arenas where people can actualize and activate the power of that diversity, it makes America unstoppable. It means we win. It is the most effective way to solve problems. It is the most effective way to grow community. The power of diversity is not only in the spirit of self-satisfaction that we get when we celebrate it, but it is in the power of the change that we can effect and the competitive advantage that our campuses, our communities, and our country have when we properly mobilize it. It is up to every one of us, no matter where you are in an organization, no matter what the nature of your work is, to start finding arenas where you can tell this new story of citizenship. We all have this opportunity and obligation right now to change the conversation in the United States about what it means to be a citizen and what citizenship is for. We can't wait for politicians to start that conversation. We can't wait for the presidents of our institutions, though many of them do this. We can't wait for somebody else who's a leader with the status and the title of leader to start telling this new story.